What's up, Mix Nutters? It's your boy Marcus here, back in the building. Today we covering the top 5 90s gems. And at number 5, we got Jenko jeans. I don't know if y'all remember these Jenko jeans, man, but they were hideous. As a matter of fact, in the 90s, I thought they were hideous. Some of these kids may not know where this comes from, but like, in the 90s, man, it was a lot of weird trends, especially on the fashion tip. It was almost like we discovered colors, because we would just throw colors. It'd be like every color under the sun on the same shirt. You don't know what's going on. But these jeans specifically, oh my goodness. Let's take a look at these boys. And I'm going to give you a little backstory on them too. It's kind of uplifting a little bit if you think about it, but let's dig into it. Los Angeles-based Jenko, which is actually short for Judge None, Choose One, started by Moroccan-born and French-raised brothers. So they used $200,000 of their life savings, and the brothers wanted to shatter the norm when it came to denim, and were heavily inspired by baggy jeans of urban California Latinos. Looking back, it seems mad any of us wore these, but look, it came down to the entire rebellious generation. People just wanted to rebel against the major brands like Levi, just do something completely different. They probably should have went a better direction, but either way, these jeans were actually pretty successful. Number 4, we got Surge Soda. I don't know if y'all remember the soda battles from the 90s, but it was like coming out with the weirdest sodas back to back every week. Surge, oh man, when Surge Soda hit the scene, yo, it was completely gross. Let's just throw this up on here. I mean, this is basically just green juice filled with sugar. I mean, it looked like a fluid that would come out of your car, like coolant. It basically looked like you was drinking a bottle of coolant. For Surge, they called it Surge because you got a rush of energy, but that's because of the amount of sugar in it. Surge was introduced in 1997 to compete with like Mountain Dew and some of the other big names that were taking over the beverage scene. So after about 5 years, Surge was discontinued and they had a few limited releases, but it was about 5 years, and in 2003 they just shut that boy down. And more health conscious in like 2000s, where they wanted less sugary drinks and just natural, more delicious stuff. But Surge was just like pure sugar processed deliciousness. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it was like the worst thing for you, dude. You know what I mean? It was probably like the equivalent of eating like a couple of slices of pizza as far as calories are concerned. So, not the best choice if you're trying to, keep off the old pounds. Coming in at number 3, we got one of my favorites, the Sony PlayStation 1. This thing, I remember it like it was yesterday. The PlayStation 5 is about to come out, and I remember the PlayStation 1. Damn, I'm getting old. But the PlayStation 1 was revolutionary, especially Resident Evil on PlayStation 1. I mean, the graphics was, you couldn't beat the graphics at the time. And not only were the games graphically looking better, but they were actually fun. Xbox One didn't really have that going for it, but PlayStation did. Xbox One had graphics, but the games weren't that fun outside of Halo. PlayStation had the graphics and the fun. It hit the market in 1994, right? So everybody wanted one. And it was pretty expensive, man. I mean, it was like, I think it was like $200 or $300, but it was in a league of its own. You had memory cards, you could pause. I mean, you could do a lot of different things with it, and it was like groundbreaking technology at the time, man. I mean, this thing was like on point. Had a cool, and not only did it have a cool design and look to the actual physical system itself, but just cool sounds, and just had its own feel to it. And the controller was just perfect. Like, it was like you put it in your hand, and it was like, my hand is complete. Coming in at number 2, we got Pokemon. Now, originally called Pocket Monsters, it changed over to Pokemon. Now, we all know Pokemon today with the game, with the cell phone, you run around, whatever. But like, when this thing came out, it was a huge hit. And a lot of people couldn't figure out why. It was a very weird concept, this whole throwing a ball, catching monsters, making them fight each other. Just essentially dog fighting, which is looked down on. But that's what Pokemon is, except for with cute imaginary animals. Anyway, let's dig into it. Man, originally Pocket Monsters was developed by Game Freak and published by Nintendo in 1996. Game Freak was originally a mini comic publication that interviewed local arcade owners for tips on beating certain games. So this game just took over the game, man. I don't know if they found a niche or something that was missing, but when it did hit the scene, the cartoon blew up, the toys blew up, the video games blew up. I mean, even today, it's still going strong. They got some of the biggest die-hard fans you have ever seen. People love Pokemon, adult and children alike. Me personally, not really into it, but I cannot deny its success. It's clearly beloved. So that carried over from the 90s till now. It's 2020, baby, and that is a long ride. I mean, they literally made billions. And they just keep reinventing it, bringing it back. Power of Brandon, man, I'm telling you, power of Brandon. And at number 1 is the movie Titanic. I know y'all remember this. This movie was huge when it came out. Alright, it spent a year in the theater. Chicks love this movie, mostly because of the love story version of it, but it was like the longest movie ever. Movies were not like 3 hours back in the day, so this movie felt like 3 years. Came out in 1997, and at the time it was the most expensive film ever made at $200 million. James Cameron really took a chance on this, but this dude is a brilliant director. Because, I mean, he had to use credit cards, to pay cuts. I mean, this dude was really trying to make this thing happen. He's a strange dude, man. He actually dove to the Mariana Trench, like James Cameron, you know, like what? But he did his research on it. To date, it grossed over $2 billion. Right? $2 billion. That's why he can write his own ticket, James Cameron can. I mean, you making $2 billion off of $200 million? Yes, please. And that's just one of his movies. We ain't talking about Terminator and some of his other films, like Avatar. Like, this dude, he got it in the bag. Everything about this movie made cash. Even the theme song, My Heart Will Go On. Even now, people still love that song. Most of us, when we hear it, we immediately want to just, like, stab our eardrums out because it was so overplayed. Even Celine Dion hates the song. But it was a hit song. It was a hit movie. People loved it. People bought it on VHS back in the day. They rebought it on DVD. They still play it at some theaters, like a Titanic reunion or whatever. And they like play it for people to come watch it in the theater again. And you know it's amazing because you made $2 billion on a movie that everybody knows the ending of before they go see it. Wow. And you just threw it like a made-up love story in there, mix it up. That's called brilliant, is what that's called. Alright, Mixed Nutters, that's it for me today. I'm about to make like a baby and head out. If you want to support the channel, go to buymeacoffee.com/mixednuts. Remember, we got new videos coming every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And until next time,